Hello people, as you can see, I'm outside today. I decided to wear blue because of some things that I heard this morning in regards to a person on Instagram and Twitter that I've been following for a while, and some things came out about her that I'm not really gonna get into too much, but basically they were saying that she was a fraud and that she has mentally abused some people in the past, and it was basically just calling her out and stuff like that. So and she was kind of in the spiritual community and things like that, so just like, you know, what my brand has to do with the industry that I'm, you know, a part of or aspiring to be a part of. Actually I already am, just kidding. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to wear blue because I wanted to remind myself to stay firm in my own truth and what I believe, you know, regardless of what anybody else is saying about this girl in the spiritual community. She doesn't know what she's talking about, she's fraud and she's fake. Yeah, that could be true. And in one perspective, that is true, you know. But in another perspective, I also have to make sure that me being in the spiritual community, that I'm not letting that discourage me from sharing my own truth with integrity and authenticity, which is what we're moving into. I believe that that's what 5D New Earth consists of. Not only that, of course, but it's a major part of it, authenticity and integrity, just being truthful and sharing your ultimate truth and doing it in a way that helps people and doesn't harm people. So that's what I believe in. That's why I chose to wear blue today, because I want to reaffirm that to myself and to everybody else who may be a little bit confused about the situation that happened with her. So yeah, I just wanted to clear that up for now. I received, or clear it up, I mean, I just wanted to speak about that. Nothing I need to clear up, obviously, but I can see that happening to me in the future, something like that, maybe, you know. I mean, I try my best to always stay true to who I am and to treat others with kindness, but sometimes that can be misconstrued. And I'm not going to say that the allegations about her were true or false. I believe them, in my personal opinion, that if that many people are going to come out and say something negative about you, that I'm probably going to believe it. And the same thing for a lot of people saying something good about somebody, I'm probably going to believe that, because I believe human experiences. I believe people when they speak. Obviously you can't believe everybody, but there's multiple different perspectives on that, which are all true in their own ways, but that's my perspective. I believe what I know to be true in my heart, and that's just it, you know. And I don't begrudge anybody who acts in a different way than I do at all. It's all love, you know. It's all love. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that really quick. I had a major download yesterday. Well, it was multiple different downloads, but I just wanted to share them a little bit with you guys. I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna entitle this video, but just a few downloads that I've been thinking of, and just how much the spiritual community is shifting. I mean, I've only really been involved with it pretty, you know, for not very long, but I can already see a lot of themes, and I am already noticing a lot of things. So I feel like it can get confusing for the average person. It was confusing for me a little bit at first, because you hear all of these different messages that seem to contradict each other and that don't line up with each other. So you hear people saying, oh, you know, you just have to be positive, keep thinking positive thoughts. But then on the other hand, you hear people saying, oh, you need to, you know, embrace your shadow self, and you need to love your negative thoughts. And both of those are true. It's all about relativity. Whatever's real and true to you and that helps you in your path and in your growth, then that's what you should stick with, I think. So it changes for absolutely everybody. Absolutely everybody makes their own reality themselves. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it can get confusing for some people to hear all these different messages, and I just kind of wanted to clear up some of that. because when we start to get involved in being a conscious creator in our reality, and when we start listening to these messages of people on Instagram and Twitter and things like that on social media, or maybe a public speaker or something that's, you know, just really pushing an agenda of uplifting the collective and positivity, and these are great things, but sometimes the message can be misconstrued, and it's not productive to some people's growth at times to just keep hearing that same message over and over again. So I'm just here basically to offer an alternative perspective. See, here on Earth, we're living in duality. There's good and bad, there's male and female, there's light and darkness. So while we're living in this duality, it's inherent that there are going to be things to us that are good and things that to us are bad. But it's not all about just getting to the good. It's not all about just leaping ahead and just skipping over the bad parts to the good parts. Because if we step outside of duality for a second, see, I like to step in and out of duality. I like to use it as a tool sometimes, but then sometimes I like to step outside of it and just see everything as gray. Or just, I mean, maybe not gray, that's really boring to say. Maybe just a flow of beautiful, bright, amazing colors. So when we step outside of that, though, we see that there are good things in bad people, and there are bad things in good people. So who's to say that a bad experience in your life can't alchemize and create something good in your life? That happens all the time. We see it all the time happening. So, you know, of course we already see that happening. So why not take that same approach when we're thinking about our bad thoughts versus our positive thoughts? See, our positive thoughts are great because they uplift us. They raise our consciousness, they give us that higher frequency into a different frequency where we're attracting love and we're attracting peace and good companionship, and we're attracting all these good things to our lives. And that's coming from inside here. That's coming from the pure light that's inside all of us. But in one perspective, there's also pure darkness in all of us. We all have those bad thoughts where we get jealous of people, we're envious of people. Well, that's kind of the same thing, but you know, it's just like where we're bitter at people. We have bad thoughts where we wish bad things on people, and I have those thoughts all the time. Like, please don't think that any spiritual person on Twitter is totally perfect and doesn't ever think bad thoughts. That's ridiculous. You know, of course we do. We all have that in us a little bit, and it's okay to embrace the darkness and be okay with it, because that's where the growth is. That's where the growth alchemizes, in those negative moments where we're thinking bad thoughts and we don't like ourselves, and we're, you know, all these different sort of negative connotations. So embrace the bad thoughts, you know, just let them come and let them go, because they will flow out of you. But I don't know if on Earth we're ever going to be totally rid of all of those bad thoughts. It's never going to happen, you know? I mean, we're meant to live in duality here on Earth, so we're meant to experience the bad things. So every time you have a bad thought, you need to be conscious of every single one of your thoughts. Every single one of your thoughts is an expression of a conscious sentient being. Conscious sentient being, enunciate. So each one of those thoughts is like a little person. It's inviting you to a different timeline where maybe you're a professional model, or maybe you're an artist, or maybe you get into a car crash next week and you die. All of these thoughts that are coming into our head, it's inviting us into a new timeline that we can choose to. Right now, especially in this point in time, I feel like this is such an amazing portal. There's so many paths in front of us, and I would say the same thing about myself. There's many paths in front of me that I can choose from. We have the power to choose what we want. There's some timelines that have bad connotations, and there's some ones that have good, you know? I'm always going to choose, me in my personal opinion, if I'm thinking in the perspective of Brittany, and instead of the perspective of God or source, me in my perspective of Brittany, I'm always going to choose good. And I think that most people would agree with that, you know? I'm always going to want to choose good. But sometimes there's things inside of us that are blockages that need to be cleared. So sometimes that's why we have a bad negative thought. That's why a bad negative experience happens in our lives, because it's every time we have a thought, well, I don't know if I want to say every time that we have a thought, but especially if we dwell on these thoughts and we focus on them, that is going to manifest into our reality, and we're going to see it, and we're going to be able to learn from it and grow from it, from that experience, because our soul put that experience there for a reason, for us to learn and grow from it, because that's a blockage, an area that we need to work on. So we always know what we need to work on when we're looking, especially people who are not, serious meditators who do it all the time, and people who don't self-reflect as much. The way that you can tell what direction that you should go in is based on your experiences. So let's say that I have an experience with somebody in my life who is really getting me down and is criticizing me and wants to always get into a fight with me, that always is trying to get at me. And I'm not saying that that person is right. I'm not saying that at all. They are, morally wrong in every way if you choose to believe so. But that is an expression of what I'm manifesting out into the reality, into physical form, coming from inside of me. So there was a part inside of me that needed somebody to question my beliefs, or to question me in general, and somebody that doesn't line up with what I know to be true in my heart. That's why I'm wearing blue, because I'm being very firm about what I believe. So that's just an invitation for me to look inside and be like, what am I still insecure about? It's just like, if they're gonna criticize you and say, oh, you're a slut or something, and if I take that to heart, then that's something in me that, well, actually, no. Either way that I take it, it's always something that's inside of me that is coming out into the physical form. So it could be from your subconscious, or it could be from your conscious. The subconscious ones we're not aware of. Our subconscious is always turned on, it's always active. So sometimes when we have something locked in our subconscious that we're not consciously in our front mind, that we're not aware of, it can seem so out of place to have an experience like that, because we're like, I've been spending so much time thinking positive thoughts. Why is this happening? It's in our subconscious. Our subconscious is always turned on. It's always aware, even when we're asleep. And I want to shout out Feel Good Life, because I think he had a similar download to me, and he helped me a lot to realize a few things about the specifics of this. So I want to give him credit, but I do still realize that this is, my own personal message, and this is my own personal twist on it. So he kind of broke that down for me, and I totally agree with it. So when we have these bad experiences, it's a call to look inward and to look at our subconscious. I know it's hard, but we are still able to focus on it and to try to resolve it within ourselves. That's why it's good to talk to yourself. It's amazing to talk to yourself. You can talk to all the different aspects of yourself: your ego, your shadow self, your soul, your all these different things that are a part of us. Every single part of you, integrates in and creates a whole. So that includes your subconscious. So sometimes these experiences don't line up with our soul and with who we are, because it's locked in our subconscious. So to that, I would say, continue to meditate, continue to self-reflect. Every time that you have a thought, be aware of it, because that is a sentient being that is trying to tell you a message. We don't always enjoy the messages that we receive, but it's always important to listen either way. Even if you don't agree, it's important to listen, because that is a messenger of your soul, of your higher self, of your spirit guides. That's a messenger telling you something. It could be helpful advice. It could be a message saying that I need to look inward and cleanse or clear some of those blockages within me, either way, take it all in love. It's all love, you know, even if the person hates you, you know. And I'm not going to say that, you know, you just have to, you know, hang out with a person or, you know, surround yourself with people who are constantly giving you negative messages. Don't do that, obviously, you know. Stand firm in who you are and in your standards, and remove yourself from the situation if you have to. But it's still there for a reason. It's still there for you to be like, I don't want to be treated that way. I don't want to be talked to that way. So it's a call for you to look inward and decide what you do really want and who you do really want to be associated with. So yeah, and then the other thing that I wanted to get out is this has to do with bad thoughts as well. If we're talking about anxiety and stress, you know, that is basically a call from, like I was talking about earlier, those timelines that are all in front of us, that are spread out for us to choose whatever we want. Sometimes we get locked into a or not locked, but we pick up on a frequency that maybe scares us. It scares our subconscious, or it scares our ego. It scares a part of us that isn't ready for that outcome, that doesn't feel ready for it, and is scared of the unknown and scared of change. That's basically what it is. So every time you have anxiety or you're stressed, I know this is probably super hard, but try to bless it. Try to be thankful for it either way, because it is a call from a future timeline. Possibly, well, this has a lot of truth in it as well. It could be your future you that's trying to show you a better way, you know? And we need to listen. We need to listen to our thoughts, every single one of them. Do not repress your thoughts. When you have anxiety, I know it sucks and I know it hurts, but try to sit with it and just let it fizzle out, you know, because it will over time. If every time you have a negative thought, if you think a positive thought right after that, like for example, if you say, I'm no good, I hate myself, and then on the other hand, your soul or your positive mindset says to it, no, I am good enough and I love myself, then that is what alchemizes our experience into something that's happy, basically. So you don't have to repress it. You don't have to be mean to those thoughts. Those thoughts are sentient beings. Do not be mean to them. Do not repress them. Accept them, love them. But sometimes these thoughts are not productive to our growth. And they're not productive in becoming the version of ourselves that we want to become. So it is good to be aware of these thoughts and just recognize that I don't think that way anymore. That's an old mindset that I don't think anymore. And that's how you alchemize your negative into the positive, basically. That's how you cleanse those blockages and you become a better you and just become happier, honestly. I mean, if your intention is to be more authentic and to have integrity and to be happy, then that's what's going to happen. If you have other intentions, then that may express itself in other ways, but this is me talking from my experience, my personal experience. So for me, I'm a person that always wants to strive for integrity and authenticity, because I know that being authentic to my soul means being happy and loving people and expressing love and radiating love and teaching other people about it and just raising the awareness. That's what I'm about. I don't know for you guys, but that's what I'm about. So that's what I'm going to continue to stand strong in. I'm going to continue every single day to clear these blockages so that I can be the me that I want to be. And even if you're not the you that you want to be right now, that's okay, because you're still perfect in your own way. We are always perfect. We always have the authentic us inside of us. The authentic soul expression is always inside of us. It's always available for us to access and for us to go in and to go inside to discover who that is. Sometimes it's blocked under many layers, but we are able to access it. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can help to detox. You know, you can focus on positive thoughts. You can whatever people do with their crystals, take a crystal bath or something like that. I don't really do things like that, but for me, I just sit with the hurt. I let it do its work. I let it work inside of me. I let it work inside of me so that it can alchemize into something even better for me. So we're living in duality. These are dark times. These are dense times. Continue to do the soul work. I know it sucks sometimes. The stress sucks sometimes. But continue to do it. If you want that and if you want to live in the reality that you know is meant for you, then continue on. If you don't, then you're going to be stuck in a reality that you don't like. And I'm not saying that as soon as you start doing this, it's going to be perfect and it's going to automatically, arise in our reality. I was talking about that on my last video. It's not that simple. But we're able to continually make progress over time. I've always been the type of person I persevere and I'm able to keep going. Even if you're going at a slow pace, that's okay, I mean, I have felt everything personally for me accelerate right now in this time. And I think it's fucking amazing. I love the fact that we're accelerating at a faster rate and we're able to reach that frequency and we're able to pick up on the frequency that we desire right now because there's a lot of light being integrated into the earth space. I know that for certain. There's certain sentient light beings that are sending us messages and helping us to be aware of all of these things that are holding us back from being the best possible species that we can be here on Earth as humans. They are here to help us, and I believe that I am one of those people here to help us. And I love every single one of you Earth beings. I love every single one of you. If you consider yourself, an Earth being, or if you think that you're from other galaxies or other star systems, things like that, it's all love. The whole collective, it's all love for everybody. And on that note, while I'm talking about receiving downloads and receiving that information that's attached to different timelines, which creates anxiety and stress and these negative emotions in us, I do also want to say that sometimes we don't have to dwell on those timeline upgrades, because sometimes it can be very overwhelming for us. Sometimes we're not ready quite yet to hear about these frequency upgrades from different timelines, and it can really just stress us out and just put us down. And I don't want that at all, because we need to love ourselves at the end of the day. We need to do what's best for ourselves. And sometimes it's not best for ourselves to be receiving multiple timelines at once, to be receiving all these different thoughts at one time that lead to a million different timelines. Sometimes you need to shut that off. Sometimes you need to rest. Sometimes I'll be in bed and I'm receiving all these different thoughts, all these different invitations to different timelines, and I will literally say to those thoughts, be like, I don't know the answer right now, but it's okay, because I know that I love myself and I know that I have a purpose here. And just leave it at that, just embrace the fact that you don't know everything. And that is perfectly okay, because the thought will come back to you. If it's a thought that's attached to a timeline that's meant for you, that represents your most authentic self, then it will absolutely come back to you. Your path is protected. Nobody can take that from you. You are the creator of your own universe. You are so powerful. You can do whatever the fuck you want. So don't be scared that if you turn it off for a little bit, turn off your third eye in a sense, and you take some needed rest, don't be scared that it won't come back to you, because it always will. What's meant for you will always come to you. Do not be afraid of that, but love yourselves first and practice self-care, even when it comes to, sometimes your guides are, just speaking all at once, or you're getting a million different thoughts from a million different guides. Even if they're not your own personal guides, they may be other guides or other sentient beings that that represent different frequencies and different dimensions and things like that. It's okay. You need to love yourself first and honor yourself before anything. So take the downloads easy if you need to at first. I've gotten to a point now where I'm able to kind of take the downloads as they come most of the time and organize them into different categories in my mind. You have to organize your mind, organize your shadow self. What are the good things about your dark side? What are the bad things about your light side? Sometimes we get a little bit of a spiritual ego, and we think that just because, I'm meditating every day and I'm so good about self-reflection and blah, 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 I'm just so much better than other people. That is, that can be seen as a bad thing about your good side, analyze and organize every single part of you. It all integrates to form the whole of who you are, and you want to be in agreement with all of your different parts. You want to, be on good terms with all those different parts of you, just like you want to be on good terms with your significant other, or you want to be on good terms with whoever it is in your life that you deal with on a daily basis. You want to make peace with that. So just keep on striving towards that. It's like we're so good at communicating with other people sometimes. We're so good at, confronting other people, and we're so good at, saying I love you to certain people and just everything like that. Express love for yourself. Communicate with yourself. Express love to every part of you, even the shadow parts, especially the shadow parts. Appreciate every single part of you. Love it. And all of the old programs that you don't need anymore will float away. As you're dwelling on the past and you're thinking about these negative experiences that happened in the past, rewrite the story. Maybe in the past, that situation in your mind was a negative thing, and oh man, that means that I'm not good enough and I'm just a loser, and I don't deserve anything and whatever, But now you can rewrite it and be like, wow, I was so in the dark back then. I did not even know my power. I was not aware of my power. I was giving out my power. But now you can look at that situation and say, wow, this is a situation that's leading me into realizing my true self and my authentic, pure, happy, love and light self, or however your true self is, just embrace the true you, whatever that is. And I really want to encourage everybody to embrace the inner them, even if it doesn't look good to some people. Even if it doesn't look good to some people. Embrace it anyways. Try to integrate it into a you that you can be proud of and that you love. Just love yourself, integrate yourself, communicate with yourself, all that jazz. Okay, this time I'm really done with the video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please like and subscribe. I love all you amazing souls. There's nothing but love for everybody out there. I hope that everybody can have an amazing day, or whatever time that you're watching this, of loving yourself, but also being strict about your boundaries with people, even your loved ones. You need to have some sort of boundaries. That's our dark side. We need to have some sort of boundaries that protect us and that guide us into loving ourselves more. There's self-love, and then there's love for others. Both are so important, but it's important to love yourself first and foremost. So I hope you guys have an amazing week or day whenever you're watching this. I love all of you, and goodbye. Be back soon.